typically whenever people hear about Miami, Florida, they think of some cheesy Spring Breakers movie with college kids all chilling on the beach, getting drunk, people retired, buying beach houses, partying on the beach. They think of typical things that you would think of happen on a beach, right? When people hear about Seattle, Washington, they think of a big city, the Space Needle. Maybe they think about lots of traffic and lots of people, lots of skyscrapers. And when people hear about Austin, Texas, usually the only thing they hear is Texas, and they just think about the Lone Star State. How Austin's not really a big deal, although it is the capital. They think of a big city. They might think of UT Austin, or they might think of Matthew McConaughey teaching at UT Austin and how they can get into his class. But these three cities have so much more interesting logistics and facts behind them that make them so interesting to the American population, and I'm about to tell you why. The fastest growing cities in America are Seattle, Washington, Miami, Florida, and Austin, Texas. These cities are growing rapidly and have been over the past 25 years because of the population increases due to people migrating to them from the suburbs to urbanized areas, and lots of economic opportunities in construction. The third fastest growing city in America is Seattle, Washington. Seattle, Washington has a booming tech industry, which has a tendency to draw in millennials who have just graduated from college and who are looking for jobs in the tech world or the tech industry. The majority of the population are going to be 50 to 75 years old, and that is because Seattle is a place where people typically go to maybe retire, or people grow up in and they die in. The second largest growing city in America is Miami, Florida. Miami is growing because of the tropical climate, great winters and great summers, which make for great vacations and great environments for people to raise a family. There's also a lot of economic opportunities in Miami that people wouldn't even think about existing in other cities, which makes it really interesting. Miami is projected to grow 5.5 million over the next 25 years, which will cause open lots and vacancies to vanish. Soon there will be no more space for any more suburbs in the city of Miami, and pretty soon in all of Florida. Austin, Texas is the fastest growing city in America, which is reshaping the Texas economy by a landslide. In 2018 to 2019, Austin, Texas grew 2.8% in population size, and 2.8 seems like not a very big number, but compared to most cities, it's very large. I have a graph that I'm going to show you. It is the 29th largest metro in Texas, which actually is quite interesting because you would think that the number one largest metro in Texas would have the greatest population increase, but this is number 29th, and so that makes it kind of an interesting place. New residential construction leads to more suburbs, leads to more economic opportunities, leads to cheaper property, leads to people wanting to move there. They're growing because of the diversification of metropolitan areas, and like I was saying about Austin, Texas, the diversification, the lack of vacancies, the lack of property, the lack of things that are in, the lack of urbanization that is in Austin but is moving to Austin draws people in, and it brings a lot of different diverse people, and UT Austin being in Austin also helps that factor as well. Jobs and income rates in these cities are very high. There are lots of economic opportunities, and the income rates, which the job opportunities leads the income rates to rise. The construction of the new suburbs, which leads to cheaper property. Has COVID-19 affected these cities and their population growth? COVID-19 has actually not affected the population of Austin, which is actually really interesting. Whenever COVID caused UT Austin to go online, college students tended to stay in Austin, continue to live in Austin rather than go back home during that time. And that's an interesting factor that plays into the population as well. The migration to Miami actually increased during the pandemic, and I believe this is because of people kind of wanting to take a vacation, kind of wanting to get away. The majority of the population in Seattle was infected. Actually, over half of their population was infected with COVID-19. They only had about 2,000 deaths. So these are the population growth charts. This is the Miami population from 2000 to 2021 projection. It is projected to grow over 100,000 people. The growth of Seattle, Washington from 2011 to 2017 has grown dramatically, has increased by over 300,000. And the population of Austin's population growth has grown substantially over the course of the years and is projected by 2035 to be up in the 4 millions. This is my Works Cited page. These cities are projected to stay in the top 10 fastest growing cities for the next 5 years at least. And this is going to be, again, just because of the job opportunities, the income rates, things that draw people in, things that make people want to move to these cities. Although these are the fastest growing cities in America, other cities are closely behind. America is becoming more urbanized. America is becoming bigger, and people need to adapt to it. The fastest growing cities in America are growing because of, no matter where it is, whether it's Miami, whether it's Seattle, Austin, or whether it's Houston, whether it's, Tallahassee, income rates and economic opportunity is going to affect the migration of people to different cities. Sooner or later, there will be no suburbs left. People will take over. Vacancies are going to be very rare. Empty lots are going to be very rare with the new economy under Trump's presidency, which COVID-19 has affected, but if reelected, that will obviously lead to greater economic opportunities depending on America is growing quickly, and it's something that everybody needs to adjust to. Everybody needs to adjust to the idea of urbanization because it is inevitable. And I believe that is my quote. Urbanization is inevitable, and it's something that we all definitely need to learn to adapt to, whether we like it or not. Thank you for listening. Thank you for taking time and watching this, and I hope that you take something away from it. Thank you so much.